What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Just Like Smith channel. In today's video, as you've seen by the title above, we're going to be installing our Fass fuel system on the 6.0 Powerstroke. I'm about to show you why. So we're about to pull out of here and we're going to get on the throttle and do pretty much a wide open throttle pull. And I have my fuel pressure gauge right here, so you're going to see why we're installing this Fass. So see, without even getting onto it very hard yet, we're already down to 49 PSI. Keep in mind, you want these 6.0s to run around 65 PSI consistently. Yeah guys, so that's not good, and that's why we're installing the Fass. So let's get into this video. All right guys, so we are back in the shop and we have our Fass kit unboxed right here behind me. I have a full unboxing and overview and kind of talking about the Fass system and why I went with that. I will try to remember to link that video down in the description box down below. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get started on this install. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the tank. In this install, I want to do an install showing you guys everything that you get in the kit and installing it the way that Fass ships it out. You can always upgrade to a sump, a fuel sump that goes in the bottom of the tank later down the road if you want to. We're gonna go ahead and drop the fuel tank in the truck, and I'll show you why here in just a second. So my truck is a little bit different. I don't have a skid plate or the cover on my fuel tank because I replaced my fuel tank. So I just have the fuel tank, which is held on by two fuel straps. I want to say they're 13 millimeter. There are two fuel lines on top. You will just want to go to Advanced Auto and pick up one of these fuel line removal tools. Take all of the bolts out on your skid plate. Take all of the bolts out on your fuel tank straps and go ahead and drop that tank. There's one plug-in, like an electrical plug-in for your fuel gauge to tell your truck how much fuel it has. So unplug that plug in and you can see all of this stuff from underneath the truck. I'm not gonna have very good lighting under there, but I will try to show you guys that. I'm gonna go ahead and get this fuel tank removed, and then we will go ahead and start installing the new draw straw. All right guys, so here is your one electrical plug-in and your two fuel lines. Unplug those two fuel lines and then just unplug that plug-in. Right here's the fuel tank straps. You're going to take those bolts out. The ones on the side are right here. There's also one right there behind that leaf spring bracket. So we've got the fuel tank out of the truck. The next thing that we're going to be doing is installing the draw straw. And before we can install the draw straw, we're going to want to use a pry bar, a large flathead screwdriver. I think they even make like a specific tool for this, but if you're watching this video, you're a DIYer and you probably don't have that at your disposal. So I just used this pry bar from Harbor Freight, and it has a big wide end on it so it doesn't damage the plastic. You don't want to use like a chisel, obviously, because it would break these tabs off. So now that you've got that broke loose, as well as I do want to mention, if all of this stuff is really dirty, you're going to want to wipe this down, blow this off, and get that clean. But the reason that we're removing this factory sending unit is it's never a bad idea to check the foot on the bottom of your sending unit because they are known to deteriorate. We actually have a brand new one on this one that I just put on here recently. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to remove it all in all. So even though it has a brand new one, I think I'm going to remove it just simply because I don't want to ever have to worry about that deteriorating and then causing a clog. So we're going to pull this out, and then right here is the sending unit foot that I was talking about. And sometimes these will deteriorate, and then all of the pieces and the garbage from these will be down inside of your fuel tank. So just to prevent that from ever happening, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. I swear, I thought that there was something right there. Look, has that thing already fell apart? So these right here can come apart, and I wanna say that there's supposed to be something in this hole, so I'm gonna do a little bit of research right quick. I think this one, since it's a Dorman brand, apparently guys, they are junk. So I don't know what to recommend to you other than doing one of these Fass fuel systems, because you don't want these particles and stuff from this broke apart piece to be all in your fuel tank. So what I have done off camera was I actually completely cleaned. I put a whole new fuel tank from a junkyard in this truck, pressure washed the whole inside of it, cleaned it, dried it, wiped it down. You know, I mean, I got it spotless clean inside, and then I threw a new foot on, and then I was still having some fuel pressure issues, so that's why we decided to do the Fass system. But anyway, I'm gonna just remove this all in all because our new sending lines and return lines from the Fass kit, we won't need this. Alright guys, so the reason that I am removing this is because even though I completely flushed my tank and I put a new one on that I purchased from Advance, this thing has not even been in here for maybe 50 miles, if that. And this, I think this is called the de-icing valve, has already broke out of it. So it's supposed to be in there like that, and it literally already broke and fell out of it. So I don't want that getting stuck and lodged in either a sump or in the draw straw and causing fuel issues. Did you start? Angle it up just a hair. Alright guys, so after you have your tank completely cleaned out of all debris, make sure you check that foot that I just now showed you, and if there's any debris from that, get all of that out, clean this tank. You're gonna remove this thing completely out of here, and we're gonna take a cup and we're gonna take a hole saw bit. This is an 1 3/8" hole saw bit. And what I'm gonna do is come in here with this cup and hold it flush up against the gas tank on the inside, and then I'm gonna drill my hole. So you want your cup to be centered with your hole to where all of the plastic shavings are not getting inside of the fuel tank. I'm gonna go ahead and drill this hole and put the draw straw as close to the Fass system as we can, which should be right around here somewhere. So pretty much right here beside of this is as close as we can put it. So we have attached the draw straw. You want this draw straw to be 1/8 of an inch off of the bottom of the tank. They also say that you need to support the gas tank on each side, so the gas tank is floating right now, so then the fuel that's in this tank can, I guess, push the tank down to where you get a more accurate measurement. So you're gonna drop this down in here, and then you can take some measurements this way. But I think the way that we're gonna do it is I'm gonna stick the measuring tape down through here, and that is exactly 12 1/4 to the top of the tank, and then we're going to add 1/8 of an inch, and then that's what our measurement needs to be whenever we measure from the end of this draw straw to the bottom of this billet piece right here on the draw straw. It needs to be 12 1/4 plus 1/8, and then we will cut that much off of the draw straw. Then whenever we put this back down through here, the draw straw should be 1/8 of an inch off the bottom of the tank. Alright guys, so right here is our little scratch that I made, and I'm going to use these radiator hose cutters to cut this. Alright, so that is cut off clean and straight, and now we can drop this down in here. Alright, so we went ahead and installed the return line and the feed line, and now we're going to pull this up some and slide on this lock nut and the actual nut. Push those down through there. Now we're going to tighten that down, and once we get that completely tightened down, just a little bit more with a wrench. You don't want to put it too tight because it does have an O-ring. So just go ahead and tighten that down just a little bit with a wrench and hold this still just to where it doesn't move so easy. And then that's what the lock washer's for that's in there. So that'll keep it from ever backing out. And then we're going to go ahead and put this tank back up in the truck. Alright guys, so now you're going to want to put your Fass pump. We have the fuel tank reinstalled, so we're going to start working on the pump itself. 10-300 goes right here in the front, and that already has the liquid thread tape stuff already on it. So we went ahead and put that in there and torqued it down. And then on the back side here, it is going to be going right off their directions. It's going to be 10-302. And that is going to go right here into the back side. And then you can just use some adjustables on this to tighten that in. Gonna go one more all the way around. They want that pointing straight up. All right guys, so next up we're gonna take these sleeves and these 3 bolts and we are going to drop them down through this hardware and go ahead and begin tightening these down. These are a 11mm. Now that is how you mount that bracket, and also be mindful of this straw right here. You do not want to damage that, and just be mindful of the pump itself. You don't want to be rough on this thing. All right guys, so as far as mounting it, sorry for the drop in quality. I had to switch over to my iPhone. I tried to put it on wide angle to where I get like the best view as possible, but there's literally a big old bracket that you're gonna slide down the bed rail, down the bed support. It will line up with a hole and it has a welded nut, and then you'll just run that bolt through that hole and you can adjust this fuel system however you need to. So you can move it over to the left, over to the right, and you can also move it up and down right here. So I did put mine on the high setting up out of the way, and then I moved it over this way almost as much as it would go. So then this rock light right here, I'm going to move that wire loom, but that rock light will still shine down through the middle of this fast fuel system, and it won't really create any more shadows or get in my way of lighting up stuff. There's a little bit on installing and mounting. Very, very simple. It took me probably about 10 minutes to get this pump mounted up. All right guys, so y'all just now seen the clip that I filmed on my phone. This is still the same day. I went and changed shirts because the last one was really dirty. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my rock light so then I can talk you guys through what I just now finished up. So the Fass system is installed except for the electrical portion of things, and I still have to hook up my fuel neck, the fuel neck. So right here is the Fass fuel system installed. So the larger hose that comes off of the draw straw billet piece will come to the back side of the pump. Bottom hose right here will loop around, and then that goes to the fuel tank. This one right here is the larger hose. It comes to the back side, and then this fitting right here, this hose is going to go towards the front of the truck. So I ended up running it right in front of this cab mount over the frame, and I still have to go through here and wipe down all of this hosing to clean it back up. And then once it comes over the frame back there, it is just inside of the frame rail right here all the way up to the front of the truck right here, where you normally will change your lower fuel filter. You are going to use your fuel line quick disconnect tool. The top 2 lines will get mated together with a 5-inch piece of hose. This one I cut at 7 inches, but you could make do with a little bit less. This bottom hose is the hose that comes from the Fass system, and you just put one of the barb fittings on it and it plugs in to the line that used to be on the bottom of this sending unit. And then you're going to unplug all of the connections on this. All of the electrical connections on this will be unplugged, and I just wanted to show you how that gets set up. So this is just a piece of fuel line that they send you. I had plenty left over, and it has a barb fitting on each end, and it goes pretty much bypassing this factory fuel pump. Bottom hose is now connected to our fuel line leading from our Fass fuel system. So with that being said, it is mounted up. It does not have the fuel filter or the water separator filter installed on the actual pump itself just yet, and it is not plugged in. So before we do any of the wiring, any of the electrical or anything, I want to go over what all's left. So going over what all is left, there is a full wiring harness, which is right here. Don't mind the mess of tools everywhere. But this is the wiring harness for the Fass system. This right here is where it will plug in to the Fass lift pump. and then that will flow all the way up into the engine bay, where you have a fused power wire, and then this right here will mount directly to your battery. So positive and negative, I would assume. I would assume the green is negative. But anyway, positive and negative to your battery. And then right here is actually a plug-in where a relay will mount, which I have right over there. So your relay will go here, and then you have just this one wire that is going to go to your fuse box inside of the vehicle, and they do include the fuse tap to do so. So here is the fuse tap that will be used, and I assume that we're going to be, I haven't looked at the directions just yet for this part, but I assume that we're going to be tapping into one of the fuses that triggers the fuel pump with the key on. So, and of course, you could probably go to any accessory power that is key on power, so then anytime you turn the key on, this will open up this whole circuit and send power to the fuel pump on the truck. So as far as the wiring goes, I'm not sure what all I'll film, but I will show that here in just a second once it's finished. And then I will try to be super in-depth with the priming, because it is very important. That's what I want to talk about next, priming the system and lubing it with the WD-40. So we will do that here in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and get this wired up, and then all we will have to do is just prime the system and put the filters on. And then Fass does recommend to fill the truck up completely with diesel, so we will run to the gas station and get some diesel fuel to finish filling this thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing wired up, and then we will get it primed and get the filters on and fill it up with fuel. So it is time to prime the system. We have everything hooked up underneath the hood. The wiring harness fit perfectly, so it's literally just positive and negative to the battery, plugging in the relay, putting the relay cover on, running one trigger wire to a hot fuse that only gets power when the key's on. So we've got that done. Went ahead and turned the rock lights on so y'all can see this, but what we're going to do is we're going to turn the key on, and then we have to go under here to the actual pump. So we will spray WD-40 into this port right here, and what this does is it lubes up all of the gears until the diesel fuel is flowing through there, lubing up all of the gears. So here we go. Sorry, I don't know what just now happened to my camera, but anyway, I'm gonna fill the truck up with diesel, and I'm gonna fill both of the filters up with diesel fuel and go ahead and screw those on, and then we should be time to start priming it, turning the truck off and on, key off, key on, key off, getting all the air out of the systems. And then of course it should be building up pressure at that point, which I'll be able to look on my fuel pressure gauge and see. But after you build up pressure and you prime it, you know, probably 5 or 6 times, you're going to want to crawl underneath the truck and be looking for drips, be looking for leaks. You don't want any leaks. Make sure you have all those fittings pressed on properly. Make sure all of the thread tape that you did do on the fittings is not leaking on any of the ports or anything. So I don't know if y'all heard there, but it doesn't really say how long to spray the WD-40 in the directions. But what I done was I just sprayed it until the sound changed, and you all just now heard that. It really quietened down, which it wasn't loud anyway, but it really quietened down after I stopped spraying the WD-40. Like at a certain point, I guess it filled up and lubricated all of those gears, and they really quietened down a lot. So I would just spray the WD-40 until the gears quieten down and you hear that change in sound. Alright guys, so right here it does show the filter location, and make sure that you put a little bit of oil on this O-ring so it seals good. And you just want to get these, you know, hand tight and then snug them up. You don't have to use like an oil filter wrench or anything on those. So right here guys, on our next filter, the one without the straw, it will have this. So you do want to make sure that you put that on the pump. Whenever you unwrap the filter, it will actually be, oh, I'm holding it, sorry. It will actually be right here. So you literally can't lose it. It is on this big metal thing. So you're going to take it off of this metal thing, and then this rubber gasket is going to go up onto the lift pump, and then you're going to screw this filter onto it. So very simple, very easy. All right, guys, so we've primed it about 6 or 7 times now. I'm gonna prime it 1 or 2 more times, then I'm gonna try to start it up. All right, guys, so this is the stuff that a lot of YouTubers won't show you. When you make a mistake and you have to fix it off camera, you can do it on camera too. So we got the truck out and it actually drove out of the shop, so I thought everything was okay. And then it died because I guess it was just running on what little fuel it had left in the fuel lines. But anyway, make sure you guys don't make this mistake. The return and the send, the suction and the return, I got those backwards. So while they were in the correct spot on the pump, they were in the wrong spot on the tank. So moral of the story, there really isn't one other than just I'm showing you guys my issue that I had. But moral of the story is customer service from Fass is absolutely awesome and they've helped a ton. So huge shout out to everybody at Fass. And I guess the next moral of the story is just, I didn't really do this in a hurry, but you know, it's my first time doing it, so that's why I messed this up. And the one hose is bigger than the other, so I thought, you know, oh, that goes right there because one hose is bigger than the other. I can't get that wrong. But it turns out the female fittings on the bulkhead fitting, the red billet thing, is the same on both sides. So I just put the wrong fitting in on each side, which then led me to putting the wrong, you know, it's backwards. It was correct on the pump, but it was wrong on the fuel tank. So yeah, not a lot of YouTubers show stuff like this, but we made a big mistake, and luckily it's not going to harm the pump or anything. We still lubed it up with WD-40, and the people at Fass, you know, said no harm, no foul. Just swap those fittings and I'll be good to go. So we're going to swap these fittings and then I'll be good to go. And to prime it, you take the water separator loose, leave the actual fuel filter tight, take the water separator loose, turn the key on, let it pump until diesel comes out, tighten it up, and you're good to go. The rest will work itself out. So I'm going to go ahead and get this fitting swapped over and then get this tank back in, and we should be able to go drive this truck finally. So starting to look up from here. A few days later, I've got to drive the truck a little bit and we're gonna go for a spin right now. But before, I want to show you all like what the pump sounds like, but it has randomly turned off cold here, so I'm gonna put a hoodie on it. All right, that's much better. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the keys, did I bring them? So it's not loud, guys. It's really not loud at all. Really, I mean, yes, you can hear it, but it's not loud. Let's go ahead and start this baby up. Woo! I swear, guys, I love the high idle on these trucks. It just revs up to pretty much 1,000 RPMs. It's just high idling right now, and we are at 69 PSI for the fuel pressure. Before, at idle, it was only about 55 PSI. So we're at 69 PSI still, so it's doing good. We're up to 112 degrees. All right, guys, so just cruising, not really hard on it. We're doing 20 miles an hour. I'm gonna put it to about 3/4 throttle. So not quite wide open, but pretty much wide open. About the same as I did in the first clip, going up this hill. So let's watch the fuel pressure. Right there, it kind of started spinning, so I had to let off a little bit, but. Alright, so like I said, guys, the roads are wet right now, so I can't really do like wide open throttle because it's just gonna light the tires up. But let's go ahead and pull out. And we will 3/4. Alright, so right there is wide open throttle. Right there at the end. Alright guys, so that's going to bring this video to an end. Again, the Fass fuel system can increase mile per gallon. It's going to increase your fuel pressure if you're having fuel pressure drop or fuel pressure issues, and it's going to keep your injectors running longer. So this is a great mod to do, and I hope this video helped you guys understand how to install one. Makes you all want to check the fuel pressure on your truck because, like I said, increase your injector life. My injectors were running on 18 psi to 35 psi, which is no bueno, guys. That's no good. So of course that has been very hard on my injectors, however long they've been like that, you know. So definitely get the fuel pressure gauge. I have a video on installing that as well, so check out my fuel pressure gauge install video. Get you a Fass. You can watch this video now to install your Fass system. And with that being said, guys, the merch, thank you all for everybody that ordered merch. I should have it in my possession around Thanksgiving, and you should be getting tracking numbers on your orders. Always remember, everybody starts out as nobody, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.